Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. I'm super excited to share that scrapbook.com now has their own premium cardstock. It's gorgeous, the quality is amazing, and look at all the beautiful colors. There are 5 different types of cardstock and I'll go through each of them. I'm showing you an A2 size pack that includes 1 sheet of each color. Currently, their cardstock is also available in individual 12 by 12 sheets, and I will have links in the description box below. So I'll start off with their premium classic cardstock. There are 45 colors. This is an 80-pound or 216 GSM weight. The front sheet has a sample with the names of the cardstock and color. And the cardstock sheets are in order by the sample sheet on the front cover. I'm laying out the cardstock sheets in reverse, so I'm starting with the new black and then I'll end with Ladybug, which is the upper left-hand corner red. There are so many sheets, I need to scoot these up just a little bit so I can get to the rest of the colors. I love the variety of shades for each color. There's a good mix of neutrals, black, grays, browns, white, and cream. 4 purples, lots of blues, some teals, greens, quite a few yellows. There's orange, and of course my favorite, the beautiful pinks. And we'll finish off with 5 shades of red. So there are the 45 colors of the premium classic cardstock, and it has a smooth finish. The 80-pound weight is very versatile, great for die cuts, but it's not too heavy, so it's perfect for matted layers. The next set I'm showing you is the premium canvas cardstock. There are also 45 colors in this style. This is an 80-pound weight, 216 GSM. And I'm hoping the camera is picking up the beautiful texture. One side has that linen texture finish and the other is smooth. You can really see it on some of the darker colors. So if you love having that textured cardstock, this is the set for you. I love using a variety, so I think it's fun to have all 5 different styles. With the 5 different cardstock sets, the colors do not repeat. So in the classic, there was the Ladybug red. There is not a Ladybug red in the canvas. So with all 5 sets, I believe there's a total of 165 colors. And I don't know about you, but I love having a wide variety of cardstock colors. You're sure to find that perfect color to go with your project. If you don't like the linen texture finish, but that perfect color is in the canvas set, remember you can always flip it over because the back side is smooth. So there's a look at the 45 colors. This is the premium canvas cardstock set. So I'll set those aside and move on to the next set. I'm trying it very carefully to keep everything in order. Next up is the premium heavyweight cardstock. This cardstock is 100 pounds or 270 GSM. There are 25 different colors in this set. This is a much heavier weight than the classic and the canvas, so you could even use it for card bases. So I'll go through all the different colors. I'm doing it in reverse again, starting with the browns. Then we have 4 different grays, lots of lovely blues. We have some greens, teals. I really like the Kelly green. I think that's a color I'll use quite a bit. The teals are beautiful. Then we'll move on to some of the yellows, then a few oranges. Here's a beautiful pink color, and then we'll finish it off with 2 reds. So there's a look at the 25 colors. This is the premium heavyweight cardstock. The next set is premium glimmer cardstock, and there are 30 colors. The weight is 80 pounds or 216 GSM. It's textured on one side and also has this beautiful glimmer or pearlescent finish. The back side is smooth and doesn't have the glimmer finish. I love the glimmer finish. It really adds nice detail to your project. So I'll show the colors in reverse, starting with the neutrals. There's black, gray, browns, white, and a couple creams. And we have 2 different purples, then blues, greens. There are a few teal colors, yellow, orange. Always my favorite, the pinks. And we'll finish off with 3 shades of red. So here's a look at the 30 beautiful colors in the Premium Glimmer Cardstock set. I'll set these aside and move on to the final cardstock pack. It's the Premium Swiss Dot Cardstock set. There are 20 colors. The weight is 80 pounds or 216 GSM. This is a really fun set since it's pre-embossed with polka dots. It makes a quick and easy background for your card with a fun polka dot design. It's also perfect for die cuts if you want to add that fun polka dot detail. We'll start off with the neutrals. There's a black, 2 browns, and a cream. Then there are 3 shades of purple. Then we have blue, teal, green. There's a lovely yellow, a couple orange. I love that there are 3 different pink shades in this pack and 1 red. So there's a look at the 20 colors that are part of the new Premium Swiss Dot Cardstock pack. The cardstock is now available, and if you're interested, I do have links in the description box below. I showed the A2 size packs, but they're also available in individual 12 by 12 sheets. So with the A2 packs, I decided to make some swatches. That way I have a sample of every single color, and it'll make it easier when I order the individual sheets. I didn't do anything fancy for my swatch sets. Decided to just simply cut 1 1/4 inch squares. I wanted them large enough so I could take a piece of pattern paper, line up the corner to see how well that color matches with the colors on the pattern paper. I plan on doing another swatch set where the pieces aren't glued down. That way I can hold them up to each other to see which colors coordinate together. So here's a look at all the colors of the Premium Classic Cardstock. And I only swatched them on one side of the white cardstock sheet. And now here's the Premium Canvas Cardstock. My light sort of washed out the Daylily and Snowbound, but they are on there. And here's the Premium Heavyweight Cardstock. Not as many colors, so I only needed the 1 sheet for the swatches. My swatch sets aren't anything fancy. I did use a labeler for the very top titles, but for all the cardstock colors, I simply wrote them out with a black pen. Next is the Premium Swiss Dot Cardstock. With not as many colors, I was able to get it on 1 sheet. The final swatch sheet, the Premium Glimmer Cardstock. Now for this set, I cut out 2 squares from the same color. One has the glimmer, the other doesn't, and I adhere them down side by side. So the left square has the glimmer finish and the right square is the back side. As beautiful as the glimmer is, sometimes it'll be the color on the back side that matches perfectly for my project. I do have a few cards to share with you using the brand new cardstock. For card 1, I'm using the Stitched Scallop block frame, Scrapbook.com's Cosmic die set, just one of the stars. For a sentiment, I have Gina K Designs Essential Greetings. I'll be using the Happy Independence Day, and I also have the coordinating dies. For the background of my card, I'm using the Swiss Dot Cotton Grass color, and I kept it A2 size. I'll put adhesive on the back using Scrapbook.com's Deluxe Adhesive Roller, and I'll add the background on an A2 size card base. We'll set that aside for now. I've already cut out the Stitch Scallop block frame die cut, and I use the Glimmer Polar Bear color. So it has that texture with the glimmer finish. I'll be making a shaker card. I've already attached the acetate and the foam, and I use a 2mm foam from scrapbook.com, the 1/8 inch size and also the 1/4 inch size. For the shaker element, I have 4 different colors of Trinity Stamps shaker pops: red, white, blue, and teal. This frame is so versatile and perfect for making shaker cards. I like to add the foam around each of the windows. That way you don't have to fill your card completely with all the shaker elements. And with the windows separated by the foam, you could do different colors or different shaker bits inside each window. But I'm using the same for all 6 windows, the red, white, and blue, and just a little bit of the teal. I love using Trinity Stamps shaker pops for shakers. It gives that card that very classic shaker sound. And the beads are nice and small, so you don't need to add a lot of dimension for them to shake around inside the card. I'll remove the release paper from the foam, trying carefully not to spill my shaker beads everywhere. On the back side, I'm putting another piece of acetate. That way it'll be easier to line up the frame on the background of my card, since all the shaker pops are already sealed in place. The frame is just a little bit smaller than A2 size, so you'll be able to see some of the cardstock on the background around the frame and then also through each of the windows. To adhere the frame down, I'm using the clear double-sided adhesive tape from scrapbook.com, the 1/4 inch and also the 1/8 inch. It's super sticky, so once I put this frame on the cardstock background, it's not going anywhere. I'll add a piece behind all the areas where I had the foam. This is also the adhesive I used to attach the cardstock die cut piece to the acetate. I'm using scrapbook.com's titanium scissors to cut the tape. They have a non-stick finish on them, so it's perfect for cutting tape, foam, anything with adhesive on it. Now I'll remove the release paper. And since I have that second acetate piece on the back, I don't have to worry about all those shaker pops escaping, rolling all over my desk and onto the floor. I have just one final piece to remove. Now I'll line up the frame on the background, trying to get it evenly spaced. Then I'll press down firmly to make sure it's on there nice and secure. I love using patriotic colors, and it's fun to mix in just a little bit of the teal and sometimes that craft or this light tan color I use for the background. I've already stamped and cut out the sentiment, Happy Independence Day, and this is from the Gina K Designs Essential Greetings stamp set, and I use the coordinating dies to cut it out. The ink color is Catherine Pooler's Dress Blues. I am popping up the sentiment using more foam dimension. I grabbed the 1/8 inch foam strips in the 1mm thickness. I'll remove the release paper, add the sentiment in the center of the scallop frame. Next, I'll add a star inside each of the windows. I use 3 different cardstock colors. These are all from the Premium Classic set. The red is Garnet, the darker blue is Blueberry, and this light blue is the Tiffany blue color. The star is from the Cosmic set that I showed earlier. I will pop up each of the stars using a small foam square. I use the 1mm thickness. I'll add the first garnet star in the upper left-hand corner. Then I'll do a Tiffany blue in the upper middle, the blueberry in the upper right. And I'll add the final 3 stars, starting with the blueberry, then garnet, and then Tiffany blue. I'm trying to get all the stars lined up fairly center in each of the windows with the points all going the same direction. For a little extra detail, decided to put just a small drop of pops of color inside each of the stars. This is the glitter silver color. Whenever I use pops of color, I always grab a scrap piece of cardstock and just squeeze out a tiny bit. Just want to make sure there's not an air bubble. I like to flatten my pops of color. It's just a personal preference. And I'm using the side of a stack and sort tray, just gently tapping the edge of my card. So there is my Happy Independence Day shaker, and this card was so much fun to make. The products I'll be using for card number 2, the nested bunnies die set, nested stitched flat ovals and nested flat ovals, the nested stitched A2 rectangles, Spring Friends and For a Sentiment, Easter Wishes stamp set, and coordinating dies. With Easter just around the corner, I had to make a fun Easter card. And of course, I selected lots of the pink cardstock colors. From top to bottom, first is Canvas Pale Blossom, then the Glimmer Pink Delight, Classic Petal Pink, Canvas Pink Punch, Canvas Sweetie Pie, Classic Valentine, and then that darkest pink is Classic Berry. The strips are 1/2 inch by 4 1/4 inches, and I'm adding them on a white cardstock background. I started with the middle color, the Canvas Pink Punch, and I use the grid marks on my craft mat to try to get that one on nice and straight. When adding each strip, I'm laying it right next to the previous strip, so there won't be any white gaps between the 7 pink strips. Now I don't have the strips cut out exactly the same size. I'm lining them up on the left. You can see a little bit of that white cardstock on the right side, but I'm not worried about it since I'll be cutting this piece out using one of the nested stitched rectangle dies, the second largest size. So this piece will end up being 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and it'll have that fun faux stitch detail all around the outside. I'll be layering this panel on some dark brown cardstock, and this is the cocoa color from the classic cardstock set, and I cut it out using the largest A2 size die. I'll put adhesive on the back, use the deluxe adhesive roller, and I'll also use some Artis glue since this does have that faux stitch detail. It'll just help it lay nice and flat. Then I'll layer it on that dark brown cocoa background, and I already have that piece on an A2 size card base. Using the nested stitched flat oval dies, I cut out 2 ovals. The smaller one, I use the classic yellow cardstock, and the larger one, this is a gold holographic paper from Scrapbook.com's holographic mirror paper pad. I'll put glue on the back, adhere the 2 ovals together, and this is where I'll be adding this fun little bunny image. For the bunny, the cardstock is the Swiss Dot Night Flyer Lily, and the pink bow is the Glimmer Pink Delight color. At the bottom of the oval, I'm adding this fun little grass area. The grass border die is from the Spring Friend set I showed earlier, and I cut it out using the nested flat ovals, so it doesn't have that faux stitched area, but it still lines up perfectly with the yellow background. The cardstock I use for the grass is the Canvas Mint Julep color. I'll put glue on the back of the oval, add it on the center of my card. I've already stamped and cut out the sentiment, Happy Easter, and I love how the letters are arranged for the word Easter. The ink color I use is Catherine Pooler's Be Mine. It matches beautifully with all the fun pinks on the background. I will be popping up the bunny and the sentiment using more of the small foam squares in the 1mm thickness. Behind the bunny, I'm not putting any foam at the very bottom near the legs. That area will be sitting on the grass. So just the head and the ears are being lifted up just that little bit with the foam. I'll remove the release paper from the sentiment and add it right above the bunny, but inside the nested flat oval die cut. So there is my finished card. Decided not to add any embellishments since it has all that beautiful sparkle from the holographic paper. For card design number 3, the main products I'll be using: pattern paper from the Heirloom collection. I have the A2 size, the Treasured Garden die set for a sentiment, thank you sentiments set number 4, and all 3 of these products were included in some of the SBC Fest class kits. I selected one of the lovely floral designs for the background, and I did cut it out using the A2 stitched rectangle die, the largest size. I've already adhered it on a card base using this light orange soft peach solid. Has sort of a distressed look on it. I cut it out using a smaller nested rectangle die. I'll put adhesive on the back, adhere it on the center of the card, so you'll still be able to see quite a bit of the lovely floral border around it. I'll be adding 3 butterflies. The butterfly wings, I use the Glimmer Bittersweet cardstock color, so it has that gorgeous glimmery finish. For the butterfly bodies, I use the classic chocolate cardstock color. It's this nice dark brown. There were so many amazing products in the March 2026 SBC Fest class kits. I keep reaching for them again and again. If you haven't checked them out, I know most of the class kits are still available, and Scrapbook.com always has them at an amazing price. I will put links in the description box if you want to check out the class kits. I'm always a fan of a good hello sentiment, and this one is the perfect size, and it's nice that there's the shadow outline piece included. I'm using 2 of the canvas cardstock colors for the sentiment. The darker is the aquamarine, and that lighter color is aqua tint. The shadow piece, I'm using the classic vanilla cardstock. So it's this very light cream or ivory color. For one of the hello sentiments, I use that darker color, the aquamarine, and for the other 2 hello, I use the lighter aqua tint color. So just one more sentiment to adhere to that background shadow piece. I love using those shadow pieces. It helps the sentiment stand out from the background. There are 4 sentiments included on this die set: hello, love, thanks, and thank you. I know it'll be a set I reach for again and again. I'll line up all 3 sentiments on the smaller rectangle die cut, putting the darker one in the center. I'll adhere that one down first and make sure it's on nice and straight. Since I'm using Artis glue, there's always a little bit of time to get everything adjusted before the glue dries completely. Then I'll add the next hello sentiment above it, and then the final hello sentiment underneath. Sometimes it's fun to repeat a sentiment on a card, and I think a hello, hello, hello is perfect and will make someone smile. Now it's time to add the 3 butterflies, and I will be popping them up using more of the small foam squares. I did cut a foam square in half, putting those smaller pieces behind the 2 smallest butterflies. I'm only putting the foam behind the center of the butterfly, the body area. That way, if I want a little more dimension, I can curl up the wings. I'll add 1 small butterfly on the left side above the lowest hello sentiment. The larger butterfly will go on the right side just above the middle sentiment. And then the final small butterfly will go on the right side above the top hello. For embellishments, I'm using more pops of color. This time it's the gloss vanilla bean color. Now I know it's a little hard to see on video since it does blend in a bit on the background, but in person it adds that lovely detail with the gloss finish. I put 2 small drops in the upper right hand corner and 3 in the lower left hand corner. And I'll grab the stack and sort tray, gently tap my card against the edge to flatten out the pops of color. So there is my finished card. I love how this one turned out. The colors are beautiful, and the glimmer cardstock on the butterfly wings adds such a beautiful detail. Now here's another look at the 3 cards I made using just some of Scrapbook.com's brand new cardstock. The cardstock is now available and you will not be disappointed. There are 165 new colors. If you're interested in the cardstock or any of the products I used in this video, I do have links in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.